Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to our first Fireside Chat for 2025. And today we will be talking with our president, Dr. Leahcim Semaj, and this will be moderated by his daughter, Dr. Isis Semaj Hall. We're happy to have you all today, and I know that you'll have a very enjoyable time with us. And without any further ado, I'm going to hand over to Dr. Isis Semaj Hall. At some point, Dr. Semaj Hall, you can have Harry just share with the participants how to manipulate the dashboard if they have questions, if they need to increase the volume if they have, and how we will manage if they need to speak and so on. That will take about a minute or so. You want to do that first, Harry, or you want Isis to go ahead?
Isis can start. Isis can start.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And welcome to everyone that's here joining us on this digital exploration. I think we're going to have a nice conversation here, really to just introduce the Sankore School, all of the products that are available through this avenue. It's great to be here in this digital form because, of course, this is going to be a digital application that you'll be invited to use. So why delay any longer? We know that you've been waiting, and we really appreciate that you have been waiting. So why don't we just get right into it with the conversation with, yes, my father, Dr. Semaj. So perhaps I can start by asking you, Dr. Semaj, if you don't mind, could you maybe share a little bit about maybe, let's say, like a pivotal moment in your career, something that shaped your vision as a professional and helped to lead you into professional development?
I would say that spending time in the library at age 7, I realized that was a pivotal moment because I discovered that I could now be at the top of my class at every step of the way just by the time I spent in the library, information gathering, knowledge, and it has served me all the way through, all the way through.
I understand fully. Yes, learning is incredible, and of course, it can open up so many doors. So maybe we can let that lead us into Sankore. Can you say what led to the creation of Sankore, and what does the name Sankore symbolize for you? And maybe a little bit about how it reflects your mission and values.
Well, the first when I learned about the original Sankore in the 12th and 13th century in the Mali, we had no previous consciousness that such academic and intellectual capacity existed from way back then. And I started taking it serious and realized, my goodness, this level of competence always existed. And the first time I tried to draw on it, and this is very interesting because it's the first school that you attended, we started a Sankore Academy back in 1985. The idea was a personalized, structured program for each child. Not just homogenous, everyone at the same, but way before we started understanding, dealing with digital classrooms and so on, that people could learn and learn fast, working at their own pace, and everyone. So we drew on that illustrious history of academic and intellectual experience, and then we tried to concretize it. And then when I added the fact that now I also got the Distinguished Teacher Award at Cornell University, which in a sense told me that I was the best teacher there. Now, how do we concretize all of this? How do we put it all together? Now, we have been offering courses across the world in terms of career development, in terms of professional development, all of these areas. Now it's come full circle now. Using the current technology to individualize wherever people are, wherever you wish to get to, it can be facilitated online.
Thank you. I really appreciate that response. Really having that understanding of history that's dating back centuries, right? And then also to kind of tie it into, of course, more 20th century and then, of course, 21st century understandings. So thank you for that. So maybe I'll ask another question here that would speak a bit more to your professional career, right? So as someone who has inspired so many professionals, how is it that you stay motivated? How is it that you stay motivated and continue to grow in your own journey?
Absolutely. Let me add an addendum to what I just said. Back in the original, Sankore, people traveled from all over the world to attend that space. Now, wherever you are, we can take that space to you, that consciousness. Huh? Now, I think there's two things that really keeps me motivated and driving. One, always have a plan. Always have a timetable. Because without a plan, this notion that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, huh? And a timetable, so you realize where are you now on the journey? What else do you need to do? Do you need to go faster? Do you need to turn? Do you need to stop? So a plan and the timetable for me are the two things that keep me focused and sharp.
I think I'll need to get another planner for my 2025. All right. How about a question dealing with experience? Since we've talked a little bit about professionalism, maybe you can talk about experience to say what maybe are the top essential skills that are often referred to as those soft skills that you think are going to be in demand for this year. And maybe how can professionals start developing these skills today?
I think one of the biggest misnomers is a thing called soft skills. What we really now see them as, over my 40 years of experience, they're really essential skills. It's the glue that holds everything together, no matter what you're doing. I start with emotional intelligence. It is says that cognitive intelligence gets you hired, but emotional intelligence gets you promoted. How you understand yourself, emotions are actually more contagious than any known virus, and what you can do with that. So emotional intelligence tops the list. Adaptability, resilience. You go me knock down. What do you do? Collaboration, teamwork, communication skills, storytelling, something as basic as telling a story. You need to tell stories if you're trying to share a proposal, you're trying to motivate people. How do you do that? Critical thinking, problem solving, digital literacy. These are the kind of things. Tech savvy. We have no option but to understand how the new technology works. Leadership, how to influence people. Creativity, innovation, time management, productivity, and cultural competence. Understanding that each of us bring a cultural framework to the world. Do we know how to respect and to draw on other people's cultural competence? Resource development in terms of skills. What do you do when you're posed with a new situation? How do you bring what you have to solve what you need to do? These are just a few of them.
It's a lot. That's a lot, right? Um, is there something that you can say perhaps about how Sankore addresses the unique challenges that will be faced by those early and mid-career professionals?
Oftentimes, when you realize that where you are and where you need to get to, and you need to make some changes. In the past, people talk about, well, I need to go back to school. Need to take some time off to go back and start over again. No. Sankore allows you to pivot from wherever you are. And you can now put together your own package based on where you are. What are the competences? What are the skill set? What are those pieces of that you need to get you to the next level? So I do believe that is what the big difference of Sankore is. You can put together your own package based on what you have and what you need to achieve to make sure that you can make it to the next level because you know what you need to do. You know where you are. So this allows you to make that decision based on where exactly you wish to be and how you wish to get there.
It sounds like Sankara is really letting the student, in this case, have the power to determine where they want to be in their professional development and in their career.
Absolutely. It's a
Hmm.
student-centric approach because there's so many areas, so many things that, well, this is the curriculum. You must do one, two, three, four. But what if I've done five already? Can I just add three and then two? Can I turn it around? Yes, it is a totally student-centric.
And sounds very flexible.
That's the plan, yes.
Okay. So maybe we can redirect and maybe move into some questions that will perhaps deal with how an employee, which would be a future Sankara student, also be able to overcome some of the challenges that they have. So one of those examples might be imposter syndrome. We know we've all heard the term, and it's something that many folks do suffer from, right? So imposter syndrome is often talked about for those with advanced degrees or credentials, correct? Those who have lots of degrees, lots of talent, still feel like they're an imposter in their position. So what about those who feel limited because they don't have letters behind their name, right? We generally think about imposter syndrome in the context of those with degrees and with many letters, but what about those who don't have those? What advice would you give them to overcome this and then confidently pursue their goals?
The important thing is for them to be able to recognize what they have. What they have, because guess what? It is always easy to figure out what you don't have because say the cup is half empty, yeah? All right? What do I bring to the table? What do I now have? What are my competencies? What have been my achievements? Put together my own portfolio. What have been my achievements? What have I done in the past? What have I done well? So therefore, you do not have to keep beating yourself on the head because of what you don't have. Well, here is what I have, here's what I've done, and I can show you how. And you start by shifting your own mindset, huh? Build your own expertise and so on. Then I have something to offer. I can sell it, I can share it, I can build on it.
I understand. I want to just press this a little bit more. Would you be able to perhaps offer some advice to any attendees here who may be struggling with, say, self-doubt, or maybe those who feel stuck in their career roles?
Look, too many times now we do not give ourselves full credit for all that we have achieved. And I've told people that, look, no matter what, were you part of the team that did so and so? Were you one of those who were able to transform and to shape and to share and to differentiate? Because oftentimes we only give ourselves credit because somebody else gave you the credit, somebody else said it. So too many people they wait for external endorsement or referral before they understand that, listen, I can do this. So the idea, first of all, becomes self referred, meaning that you assess what you have done, draw on all the various places you have been, all the things that you have done, and put it together as a package. Here is what I can do. So that the mindset, it begins with a mindset shift. Without that mindset shift, you become externalized, depending totally on what other people say you can and cannot do. So this is how we wish to start.
Hmm. It really does sound like a lot of confidence building, and that's important in starting any new journey. And joining Sankara is one of those kinds of journeys that I hope all attendees will embark on. So another question here is perhaps for someone who has big dreams, right? Someone who has big dreams, but they still feel a bit unsure of where to start. How can they create a personal development strategy, maybe to advance their career or successfully launch their desired business? How can they go about that?
We have over 139 different courses at this time and plan to add more as we go along. You can find the ones that now best allow you to make the next step. So that, the cliche, the longest journey starts with one step. So you don't start with, all right, well, I'm going to do these 10 courses. No, we're going to start with one. Now pick the one that oftentimes that look, you already have some competencies associated with that. So you want to build on it in terms of that one. Now we have issues that we offer in terms of the kind of training, the kinds of coaching issues. Once you become part of this ecosystem, you have other persons to draw on, and we will be there to coach you, to strengthen you as you make your choices, as you put it together. But the idea is you start where you are with what you have, with taking that first one step. And then based on that, the courses are usually somewhere between 2.5 to 3 hours in order for you to. So you can do it on your cell phone. You can do chunks. You can do in pieces. You can do it lunchtime. If you do it during lunchtime every day for a week, at the end of a week, you've finished the course. Because each course has 10 components. There are videos, there's audio, and guess what? You do not move on until you have done the information, you have done the assessment, so that you're building on it. So the idea start where you are with what you have, but with, like we said, with a timetable in your mind and a plan.
Okay, thank you. I mean, you've really laid out what the Sankore experience feels like, right? Making it quite attractive to possible enrollees, if you will. Because you have such a clear understanding of the Sankore experience, I'm curious to know about where this comes from for you. I'm wondering if you can maybe reach back in your mind for a moment and perhaps think about one piece of advice. Maybe there was some advice that you received early on that helped you to kind of get on this path so that you could be this kind of coach, this kind of support system, and this kind of leader for folks that might want to enter into the Sankore school experience. Can you perhaps reflect on that and share a piece of advice you received early on in your career that stayed with you and maybe continues to guide you in your decisions?
The most important thing, that really, touched me when I was in college, I started out in engineering because that was the assumption based on what people told me that I needed to do. All right. I got excellent grades. I did very well. But I remember one Monday morning, one of my colleagues said, "What do you do for the weekend?" And he told me he did 200 physics problems and 300 maths problems for the weekend. I said, "You got to be kidding." I got good grades, but the idea to be doing that every single day through my whole weekend too, no, I said, listen, we need to find a way to do something about that. So then I decided then I need to find something that loves me the same way I love it, huh? And want me to spend my time to immerse myself in it to make sure that there's a connection between this. I went to the guidance counselor and I did an assessment. And I was not comfortable with the kind of questions being asked. So I decided to just find it on my own. I decided to take courses that the only thing was the courses attracted me because it was something about it I knew nothing about. But so I did a whole variety of courses unconnected to any specific outcome, but things that I was genuinely attracted to and interested in. And a process emerged from it. I found that things to do, psychology was at the top of the list for me. And then all the other things around in terms of understanding what drives people, what motivates people, how to change behavior, how to build systems, how to create environments that bring out the best in people. So a product emerged, a process emerged for me. And as a result of that, I then was able to now create what I needed to be. Because the whole notion is that the most important, become what you are. Become what you are. So the whole notion, feeling through the system, identifying the things that connected me, taking a variety of courses, all based on my own interest, I ended up with a clear picture. And then we put the pieces together, and the rest is history. Everything I've done is now how do we take human behavior and we tie it to anything you need to do. So if it's in the marketing world, if it is the internal customer, if it is the external customer, so things to do with hiring, with promotion, with sales, with motivation, but it all starts with just trying different things out and taking different courses that gave me an arsenal of knowledge to draw on. So that is really what anyone who takes on this experience will be able to do, because you can sample. It's not like you have to go into an entire 1 year course before you realize that halfway through, it's not really what I want to do. But there's enough sampling that a picture can emerge in your mind and to give you clear feedback what direction you need to go.
And I suppose in the same way that you were not interested in spending 200 or spending an entire weekend completing 200 problems toward a specific task, it sounds like you've maybe pulled that forward into the development of Sankara and these courses, these short courses as well, right? So that one can dabble in, as you said, lunch hour, lunch hour, lunch hour, lesson learned. Much more palatable than perhaps sitting through 13 weeks or an entire year of a session. So you can see those through lines.
Absolutely. And listen, as a person who have been involved in this process over the last almost 4 decades, the number of people who have come to me, you mentioned 13 weeks, persons have come to me at the end of their medical degree. They just finished their medical degree and they're ready to take the degree and give it to daddy because it was daddy's idea. So once they got started, they realized that they were in too deep, but they couldn't stop. I've had persons who have come to me who were, again, medical practitioners or even engineers, realizing, but I started this, I couldn't stop. I wanted to find a way out, but I was halfway in. I'd paid all the fees already. I remember one young lady came to me, and we did an assessment for her when she was in the early stages of her academic experience. And what the data showed that law was not for her. The kind of issues that clearly it wasn't all the things associated with law. But she said, but she was trying to tell her mother this for the last 2 years. But her mother had already decided that because her father, who was a lawyer, had died, she was now to become the lawyer in the family. So that everything was now pinned on her. The money was in place and she was now placed to do this. But she realized that this is not what she wants to do. So that too many times people have gotten in too deep. Another example, a number of entrepreneurs, CEOs of companies, have come to me where explaining that they have selected a child of theirs who they want to succeed them to pull in the business. But then the child conceded, and confided in me that, listen, Dr. Semaj, I have no interest in this whatsoever. Even though my mother had hinted at this, but this is not. So I had to find a way now. How can I start with the child where they are, provide them the kind of experiences that would help them to meet their parents' pathway, so that this whole process of becoming what you are, drawing on the experience, and not just be there now to meet somebody else's experience, somebody else's expertise, somebody else's expectation. This whole notion of having a large image just flash before my mind. You go into a function and there's a smorgasbord, there's a buffet, so many things to draw from. It's not just about one or two items. We have a buffet so that you can find something, put together a number of things that will give you a balanced diet and get you where you need to go so you feel competent and complete.
That makes a lot of sense, really. Okay, I have another question. This one is perhaps thinking about the power of learning, right? What do you believe continuous learn, or why rather, why do you believe continuous learning is crucial for professionals, especially I suppose in today's fast changing business environment?
Well, look, if you just take a look at the last 20 years, the changes in the last 20 years are probably greater than the previous 100 years. Hmm? And every single day, we're seeing more and more. So that the whole notion of continuous education, continuous learning, is like there's a, those moving sidewalks we have in so many airports, that if you are just standing in one place and standing on the wrong sidewalk, you actually could be going backwards because it's pulling you forward. And that's the kind of reality the world now in, because if you do nothing, things will pass you by and keep going. The notion that says, that there's a wonderful quote from Alan Toffler, that's we're talking about in the past, the illiterate was those who can't read and write as such, huh? But no, it's that you have to do something totally different, huh? You have to be transforming yourself on a regular basis. Huh? You have to forget what you learned before almost, and you have to learn new things every single day. It is even suggested that the person who is not in a position to um, acquire the kind of skills that move forward, which is if you do not learn brand new things, you're going to be changing careers 5 or 6 times in your life because the careers are totally shifted in terms of the competencies associated with them. So anyone not committed to lifelong learning is literally by default going to lose their space in the world.
Okay. Well, that's a sobering statement. All right. So, well, look, with so many digital resources at our fingertips, right? What is it that makes Sankare's approach to learning different from other professional development platforms?
One, our focus on the secret sauce, the essential skills. Because irrespective of wherever you are, the biggest complaint we get from managers and so on is that so many people, they are well trained in terms of the specific technical area. Now we are not dealing with technical. There's so many things that will give you the technical competence, but the issue, the essential skills, the secret sauce, the things to do with, say, emotional intelligence, teamwork, leadership, communication, all those things that help you to put it together, so that the secret sauce that we offer can be paired, since we're talking about food now, with almost any other entree, whatever it is that you're doing. Because so many times, so many courses, so many programs are focused around building skills, building skills. But then at the end of the day, you have the skills, but then the people skills, the integrative skills, the resilience skills that are ultimately important in order for you to do this. So we now also offer coaching because look, something that the world of business has drawn from the world of sports, the coach, the biggest athlete, the most competent at what they do, oftentimes have what? A series of coaches, somebody to help them perfect their game in that area, on and on. We also offer assessments because too many times people decide a priori or abstractly, I want to do this, I think I'll be good at that. But oftentimes now, we can provide an assessment which will either confirm it to you that yes, you are in the right area, or, there are other things that would fit you much better in terms of what your experience is, what you wish to do with your life. So that whole notion, the coaching and the assessments, we bring that as a unique thing. And then, as I said before, the ecosystem that you'll be part of, pairing you with other people who are on a similar journey. Because they say if you want to go far, go with other people. Hmm? Someone else who is a little ahead of you, a little behind you, a little beside you, where you can share ideas with. So that is the unique component that make this different, at the same time very special, the Sankari experience.
Would you be able to speak a little bit more about the coaching experience and what that might be like for an attendee?
Yes. Now, the coaching experience is one that it addresses your unique, specific needs. And if we take it from sport, oftentimes, look, after a game, what does the coach do? You look at what happened the last game, what worked, what didn't work. Can we break down the components into the things that went wrong and what can we do? So, coaching is that process whereby it is totally built around you. Different persons can have different needs. Coaching allow you to see exactly how you're operating and what are the components you need to adjust, the pace at which you adjust it so as to achieve a particular outcome. And it's a one-on-one thing. And the wonderful thing about the way the world is now, because of the digital options, it can be done on a telephone. We can use WhatsApp. We can exchange of email. There's so many ways. There's absolutely no impediment to provide you with the kind of feedback loop for you to test and try, and then get you to the next level.
That direct communication sounds important to that coaching process, and I think does set Sankara apart from other options that might be available, thus making it much more attractive. What maybe can you say about the program? What can you say about how the enhanced offer, like what enhanced offerings are there? Maybe that's the better way to phrase it. What are the enhanced offerings that participants can take advantage of? You know, maybe besides the coaching and the one-on-one experience, but what are some of the enhanced offerings?
Look, oftentimes, one of the things that we have and we plan to have periodic webinars almost similar to this, uh, whereby there are developments taking place in the world of work. And to help you with the insight to see what's coming next. Hmm? What's coming next? How can you position yourself? So the fact that you're part of a community, huh? We have something called, again, what we call it VIP coaching, because what? Virtual, interactive, and personal. So to make sure. So the notion that helping you to interpret the things that are happening around you in the world. Every day you hear something about, for example, you hear about AI. A lot of people now are very nervous. What will happen to my job? What will happen to my career, the options? Our periodic targeted webinars on a monthly basis, we will have these presented, but then drawing on the information that people are sharing with us and indicating what they need to know more about. We now will structure these. We can, because we know what different people are doing, what they are bringing to the table, we can put people in touch with others in the cohorts who have experiences they could draw on. I would like to talk to somebody who has done this before, who is now in this particular field. So here it is that you, without even leaving your village, without leaving your home, you can now share experience with others who have been there, have done that, are doing things. So it helps you to feel more comfortable that you're on the right track.
Understood, understood. This sounds like a really hands-on experience, even though, of course, it's virtual. So it's powerful. I have a couple of other questions, and maybe I want to shift it perhaps into a more familial space to think about family dynamics. And I'm thinking about the fact that, you know, you are someone who's working closely with family. And I'm wondering, how has that influenced the way that you approach your work and your leadership style?
For me, I have seen family. If we look at the evolution of the whole, almost as a battle between family and work. Because remember when, as work evolved, we started working in our communities. Um, but then now people had to leave communities to go to factories elsewhere. But with development of digital options and so on, people now can work from home. And more people, more and more things are happening at this level. Which for me then, I've always seen that family is not just a unit of consumption, but a unit of production. And how do we get that work-life balance? Can you imagine if we could find a way that more people could literally see their family as a mini company, a mini organization, whereby you are working with each other in a, we did this for thousands of years. So we know how to do that in terms of building that economic unity. So what we're calling work-life balance is because we've actually strayed away from that connection. And if you notice, one of the byproducts of COVID and working from home, look at the pull between companies and individuals now. Many companies want everybody to come back to the factory. Many people don't want to go back to the factory. A lot of people have moved back to small towns, moved back to where they grew up, but then now they go to work via the internet, or they go into the office once or twice per week. So that for me, that is something that I've always cherished. The whole notion of work and home not necessarily being in conflict with each other, but that now you are able to do so exactly where you are. I've seen this even within an island. The university is at the other end of the island. People having to travel every evening to go and get back home. But then now, when things became online, they were able to spend more time at home with family and with children, as opposed to spending half of their life traveling back and forth. So for me, family is critical, and whether as a unit of consumption, but also a unit of production, because it's ultimately the support system that nurtures us. And by doing so, we're able to really get that proper, useful work-life balance.
So, does the Sankore School or enrolling in any of these programs, how do you see that working for someone that has a family, has a job? How can they fit this program into that lifestyle, that full, rich lifestyle?
Because you have a way you can do it, you can fit it in, right? It's not that's whereby based on other models, you have to fit into the timetable of the school, the space of the school, the pace of the school. So you can fit it into your space at your pace. There's some individual, because the children, the only time you have is after the children have gone to bed. You know? So if that's the time you have to use. There are others, as we have said before, you fit it into your lunchtime. Hmm? You fit it into as part of your morning routine. All right. Each morning I will do half an hour each morning before I make breakfast. So whatever the space you have, whatever the time you have, whatever the place you have, you fit it in, as opposed to having to contort yourself to fit into somebody else's space and place and time.
Understood. And I'm also thinking about the availability of the options. Do participants have to download the material, or do they have to have a live connection to the internet? Can you say a little bit about that process? I'm just trying to think through the full experience and all of the possibilities when balancing one's 24 hours in the day. And yes, the children are there and the work is there. How does one access the program?
Well, again, you do so online. You do so in terms of the digital highway. So the common space and issue having access to the internet, because it's not like if you had to download something, then you realize the kind of storage capacity you would need in order to be able to have to do so. But look at the evolution in terms of even music. A lot of people, music is streamed. Hmm? The streaming services are the most dominant things that people have learned how to live with and want. Look, so whether it is a Spotify, whether it's a Netflix, that person's at your fingertip, what you need. You don't need a major storage capacity. Once you have access to the internet, the same way you stream things from YouTube, you stream things from Spotify, you stream things, you can stream your educational processes with the
That's
same level of ease.
that's really great. That's really great. So just a little bit of data and you can get a whole lot of knowledge.
I like that. May I use that tagline? With a little
I
bit of
think you
data,
can.
you can get a lot of knowledge.
A whole
Yes.
lot of knowledge. Yes. So I know that we're going to be able to take some questions from the audience, and I know that there are many folks out there who are participating in this session. So I just need a little bit of clarification provided for participants on how to issue their questions so that I can make sure that they are tended to
Yes.
in the session.
So participants can simply type in their questions, what are they asking, simply by typing in the chat, and we can simply answer these questions for them. So if anybody has any question, they can share with us.
Maybe as we wait, are there some areas that we can anticipate that we can, as we await them typing in their
If
questions?
somebody wants to talk, apologies for the interruption. Somebody wants to talk, I'm giving the mic to the person. So you can speak. Hello.
Thank you so much. Just want to let you know, I am not able to find the chat. I don't know if it's me, but I did look in I'm using a phone. I looked in more. I looked all over. I see
Uh,
the gestures, but I'm not seeing that chat space.
Apologies, we have noted that, but you can ask your question live now. You have a better
Okay, so
opportunity.
thank you. Yes, I just wanted to say that. Dr. Semaj, it's good to talk to you again. This is one of your old pals from way back when. This is Cecile Palmer. I'm now Malcolm as well. Digital Transdex, if that makes sense to you.
Yes, yes, I
So,
remember that. I remember that organization. Yes.
okay, great. This
Cecil,
is wonderful to hear.
Cecil, can you allow us to
Yes.
turn on your cam also? We can give you
Oh,
like,
sure. Sure. Okay, let me put my phone down so I can have it stable.
okay,
I hope you can see me. Let me try this. Okay, there we go. There we go. Is that good?
yes, okay.
All right. All right, thank you. Right. So, my question is for this the university or the academy that you mentioned. Are you going to be doing some kind of assessment, some kind of help for persons who are getting into the training? Because what I find is that sometimes persons are not very clear on the direction that they need to take or where they are in their journey. I get it. We should know. Some of us should know, but I see a lot of persons not being able to even understand themselves, what they really want to do, things like that. So do you have that, or do they just have to figure it out and then pick a course? How does that
Oh
work?
no, that's why we say we have assessments. And listen, this is something that I've utilized at every step of the way.
Yes.
Uh, I remember that many times, even parents have brought kids who are struggling in school from just as an aside. And I realized that there was a problem because the child missed something at an earlier stage. and so many elements of learning you build on. So assessments are totally important. And we offer batteries of assessments, which will help the person to see exactly where they are, what they need to do, what their skills and competence, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and how to navigate something that now works for them. So the assessments, because many people do not necessarily have the perceptive so that they can know exactly what they need to do. Or some, it's actually the reverse. Some people feel very strongly about something that they want to do, but what they need to do to get to that is almost impossible.
Right.
Because look, I want to be a brain surgeon. Well, there's some prerequisites for that. Are you willing to go back to all of that and master those things?
Yeah.
But on the other
Right.
hand, based on where you are now and what you have now, we can help you to become this. So assessments are, and as we mentioned, the assessments and the coaching will
Yeah.
be there to help people to clarify, here is what I need to do, here is how I need to get there.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks so much for that question. I received another question here, so I'm going to just read that one out if it's okay.
Please do.
Yes.
All right, great. So this question is with so many distractions like doom scrolling, yes, we all are familiar, and other habits that steal our time, what practical steps can individuals take to carve out time for upskilling and also for personal growth?
Ooh. Listen, if you just realize that, look, the algorithms are designed for you to doom scroll. There are forces designed to keep you dumb. So recognize that it's not just on your volition that you're doing these things, that you have to make a conscious decision. Remember, we talked about before two things: the plan and the timetable. Having a plan and a timetable, know that here is where you are today, here is what you need to do, and the pieces are the idea you have to do it on a daily basis. And by the way, essential to what we're doing here, is about building new habits. Building new habits. And that's why if you start out with this process, what is a habit is something that you do and you put in place. The reality is that by the time you're age 35, 80% of what you do on a daily basis is based on habits. So you have to start a way to know, how do you get this new habit in? So if we're saying that, now let's start with, you're gonna do it first thing in the morning after your meditation and your exercise. You're gonna commit to 15 minutes. Then you expand it to a half an hour, or part of your lunchtime, or part of your afternoon break, or the kind of things that you're gonna swap out, as opposed to doing this on every weekend. One of the things I'm gonna do every weekend is do a part of a course, so that we will also be able to help you with setting these new habits, because you have to do something, they say, for 21 days before it starts becoming part of a new habit. So those mechanisms for creating these new spaces, and look, the algorithms, if you do nothing, you'll be moving backwards, because the algorithms are already designed. We try to, the way the courses are designed is to make it easier for you to build new habits. For example, every course has 10 components. It provides auditory, it provides visual, it provides short videos, because so it's not just other short videos of cats dancing. So you will get your short videos, you will get your entertaining things within the course. At the end of each component, you get the assessment, you get feedback. How am I doing? You move on to the next, so you build on the components, you build on the components. So yes, we use all the devices that are currently used to provide distractions. We use it within the course to provide mechanisms that keep you coming back and growing and learning.
Okay, no, that's really helpful. Thinking about that the aspect of having the audio option or the video and the lectures really shows how the Sankara School is making itself relevant and accessible to all multiple learning styles, right? Because some of us can, listen to a podcast and listen to the audio and get all of the understanding, while others of us need to be able to read text and see visuals in order to make sense of the material. And others of us also need to have that interactive element. So it sounds like Sankara School is checking all of the boxes to really be able to motivate folks to be their best self.
Yes.
I see Harun is here. Perhaps there's another question that you've identified.
Yes, there is a
Great.
question. Yes, exactly. I'm here with a question, like a pigeon. So the question is from Mr. Paul Allen. So that's for Dr. Semaj. As we look ahead to 2025, what are the top five essential or soft skill professionals need to develop to remain competitive in the relevant, evolving workspace?
Mm. Look, we said emotional intelligence, uh, beyond a doubt, critical thinking, problem solving, digital literacy. There's a minefield out there. How to leverage technology, how to collaborate, how to this thing called teamwork. From we were in primary school and elementary school, we were told to work as a team. But nobody has taken the time to teach us what teamwork is and how to actualize it. So that those are some of the most critical elements 2025 and going forward that we must be able to adaptability, resilience, because what happens when you're knocked down? How do you get back up and to keep moving? So those are just some of them.
Okay. And I have another question here. Oh, okay. Sorry. This one's a little sad. Um, so it says, I'm feeling stuck in my current role in my career. Can you please explain or speak to what first steps might be best for me to get out of this stagnation and unlock my full potential?
Mm.
Yeah.
Ooh. Listen, the one of the most important thing, is to diagnose why are you stuck? Hmm? Is it because what is happening, what you're actually doing, is not what you thought you wanted to do? Because sometimes you were all excited only to get in there and realize, but that's not it. Huh? And sometimes you yourself, you don't want to make the change, you don't want to stop, you don't want to start over again. So then if you feel stuck, first of all, you have to contribute to the stuckness, huh? And you have to be willing sometimes, to step away. Sometimes you have to step sideways in order to move forward. Sometimes you have to step back. I had a situation where someone had come to me and she felt stuck in the along the path that she was in. But then when she realized that there's not that much scope even to go forward where I am. But when I said, but why don't you take two steps back and move into another lane that has much more potential down the road? And she never thought of that. She just thought, no, I can do something about this. It may change. But no, no. All right, so you are in the secretarial lane. What can you become next? A senior secretary, and then a senior secretary, then the executive secretary. But with all what you have learned as a secretary, what about if you step back and acquire more competence in a specific area, and then you now become the expert at the areas you were being a secretary towards? Hmm? Because you have learned a lot of things in terms of time management. You were the one that did all the reports for the people that you reported to, so that you now draw on that now and now decide the lane that you think will work best for you. And again, assessments can help, testing it can help, and you do so to go forward.
Okay. All right. So I'm looking at the clock and realizing that we don't have much time. So I'm going to be clever and combine two questions into one. Can you handle this task? Okay, great. All right. So I have here that It's a question about the resources and the programs at Sankore Professional Development Institute. And it's asking about how is it going to help to empower individuals. But I want to compound that by asking how can the Institute, or how will the Institute also provide perhaps accountability for participants? Will they have an accountability partner, someone to help them stay on track as they do this work alone, in a sense, or at least remotely?
Well, let's start from the back because remember, you're never alone now because you are now part of a community. So once you sign up, you are part of the community, and then we can immediately identify persons who are have on the same path as you, persons who are doing the same components of you. Then, as you go together, you can share ideas. The idea is that look, persons look even now as we interact, we're in people literally this is a global process taking place here now. People are all around the world on this discussion here now. All right. So there are persons that you can interact with. And that will help the accountability. The first accountability, is for yourself. That you have started something and you plan to finish it. And that's why all the units are broken down into 10 components so that people, when you can do something and you can know, all right, let me just finish this one. You remember as a child, sometimes, somebody asks you, just finish this piece. Just finish this. All right. If you finish your dessert, oh, no, no, no. You have to get the vegetables first and you get the dessert. All right. So those are the kind of things built into the courses and so on, built into the components, and then the feedback. And you get a certificate for every course that you finish. You get a certificate. So there's something that specifies that you have effectively component completed this, and here's your grade, and you did all the components. It's not a matter that, well, then you just a certificate that you turned up. No, you've had to do all the things. Your progress is tracked as you go through each unit. And the most important reinforcement is getting feedback to say that, listen, you're doing well. You're doing well. Okay, no, 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 these answers are not correct. All right, step back and do this piece over. Every module has quizzes, quizzes, quizzes. It builds in the learning loop, and the competence loop is built in so that you yourself you're being pulled through the process.
Okay, so that was really helpful. But I only have time for one last question because we are at the end. And this is going to be a question that I think all the attendees want the answer to, which is what exclusive opportunities can attendees look forward to when they subscribe today? I'm giving you the last word to close out this wonderful fireside chat.
Who? I wonder if is Dr. Sandra on? If she could voice, because the where yeah, you're the one that can tell them the wonderful things. You give them the good news.
Okay, all right. Thanks for that. Thank you so much. Okay, so exciting news. Today, if you sign up, subscribe to Sankore platform within the next 24 hours, you will get a whopping 50% off our basic and standard offerings. And if you subscribe for our advanced or premium offerings, you get 60% off. So within the next 24 hours, once the platform is closed, take advantage of the special offer, and we will send you the information. You'll have the link where you can just see all the options for the different subscriptions. And from time to time, people ask us, what's the cost per course? This is very different. This is very special. We don't charge per course. We charge for a subscription for a period of time with some enhanced offerings. So, for example, a 1 month subscription with access to 25 courses, a 3 month subscription, access to 50 courses, access to 75 courses, access to the full catalog of courses. That's your premium offer. And with these different subscription tiers come different enhanced offerings like one on one coaching and consulting with Dr. Semaj or with myself, psychometric assessments in any area that you want. And you can go to our website, aboveorbeyondjm.com, to see all the different assessments that we offer. You have the opportunity to interact with other community members on our social media community pages. I mean, it's just excitement galore. Every month we're having master classes, fireside chats on different topics. And for the ladies who are on the call, I'll give you a little sneak preview. For next month, on the 12th of February, that's 2 days before Valentine's Day, that fireside chat will be with me, and we will be talking about the care and tending of husbands as professional women. And you don't want to miss that one. Right, so 24 hours to go to take advantage of 50% on basic and standard and 60% on advanced and premium. Back to you, Dr. Semaj, to have the final words.
Okay, again, if you know, I said mention the kind of modules. We know Spotify, huh? We know Netflix, huh? Those models, and the idea that it's not per movie or per song. It's a period of time, so that if you what 25 courses in, what's the time frame?
1 month for 25.
Oh, so that, look, if you now commit yourself, you're gonna do one a day. You could do 25 courses in a month, huh? Max, because you're home doing nothing, huh? So why not just turn it into an immersion to make it work? All right. So it's the same way that you what's the word you binge out. You binge out on Netflix, or how about binging out on Sankore professional development? By the end of this binging, you will be so much smarter, so much more competent. Thank you very much for being a part of this process. Dr. Isis?
Well, I just want to thank you as well for providing so much insight in this session. I do hope that all participants feel recognized, feel seen, feel heard, and feel enlightened after hearing this conversation about all of the offerings available through this platform. So just make sure you take advantage of that stunning deal. Deals like this don't come around every day, but you do have your 24 hours to make use of it. And I think it's a good idea to try to build up yourself, right? In the time that it would take to watch a long movie, you could gain so much mastery of self and awareness of self. And I really like that special bonus of being able to have access to chat rooms and message boards and a kind of group experience, because I think that ties into the question that was raised by one of the audience or participants here about accountability. So you do feel like you have a cohort, you feel like you have a kind of family, right, of learners that you can work with for whatever period of time you sign on for. So thank you to everyone here for joining this session. I hope to see some of you again in some iteration or another. But thank you to Dr. Semaj. Thank you to Dr. Palmer. Thank you to you, Haroon Ahmed, for being supportive in this endeavor. And thank you to all participants for joining today. Make sure you take advantage of the deal. Okay, so it was great to be here. Anyone else have anything they need to say right now?
Thanks for the comments, and for everyone who wants to take the package we are offering, they can simply ping us. And in case if you miss this webinar, you can catch this on YouTube and our website and even on Spotify. And if you want to avail this link, so what we are creating a one-time sign up. When you watch it, you can get this package via the link we will be heading in that. So if you are coming in like 1 month or 2 months late, you can still have it. and we will be still giving it to you. So if you want to avail this message, you just need to like ping us at any of our channel. You will be getting the link. So it's not just you missed it, but you can get it anytime you need it. So that is it, and we are over till the next time, and see you all with Dr. Sandra. And one more thing, our course allows you one thing to be added on that you can still do it with Netflix because, or you can like still do it while you are on gym because this is very flexible and our courses you can take them on the mobile as well. So this is another flexibility that you can into the courses. That's it, everyone. So if anyone has a query questions, we are still open 24/7. We are there to serve you. Bye, everyone.
At Above or Beyond, the goal is excellence.